This is the gate and the wall of Airship One. The wall is barbed with obstructions and is the tallest behemoth surrounding the city. The gate is heavily guarded by armed guards. Only outsiders and extreme inner party members can access. And in North Korea, it is virtually inescapable for the locals, it is heavily guarded by the army. The only ways is by boat or swim across the Yalu River. And you can die on the spot by guns. Both the party in 1984 and the North Korean government wants to keep the people in and controlled, no doubt, which limits the freedom of exploring the outside world. And this is the telescreen. This is the main one on the Central Park where people gather to hear speeches. But however, telescreen is a two-way camera and is forcefully located in most parties' members' houses. And this is a clear invasion of privacy. This spies on people and usually get people into prison. Uh, Surveillance cameras, on the other hand, are implemented almost everywhere in the public. But the difference from 1984 is that these surveillance cameras are not used to spy and prey on people. In the city, there are buildings with most people live in. It's like slums where people's living conditions are below average. And since these are the only buildings people are allowed to live in, this really limits their freedom on where they live. They don't have a choice. In Niamey, Niger, over 75% of the population, which is similar to the Pearls, lives in the slums where there are problems like water pollution and people want to move into a better place. But with high costs, they can't. The freedom limiter in Niger is the cost, while in Oceania, it's the party. People are brainwashed by slogans and laws, and they're forced to worship the statue of their oppressive leader, Big Brother. The propagandas about Big Brother constantly changes the way people think. A real-world example is the propaganda in North Korea. They say that people shall do this and that to be good. And also they say they're more developed than other countries, which is very similar to what the Ministry of Plenty did to the people in 1984. In many peace, they create and change propagandas about which country they're at always and never at war with. In reality, their enemies and ally changes. And the reason this war never finishes is because Oceania doesn't want their people to think that the outside is safe. So they wouldn't leave the country. This is why the party says war is peace. That's the true meaning of it. This is where party criminals get tortured, which is the Ministry of Love. And people that went there will never come back the same. After they go in there, they're tortured and brainwashed. After they are deemed clean by the party. Most people that went in want suicide, however, they're not even granted the freedom to die. This limits one of their most basic desires and freedoms, to be mentally free. A similar real world example in Auschwitz during World War II. The Nazis had prisoners. They're forced to work and be tortured whenever the Germans desire. When they want to kill themselves to stop suffering, the Nazis specifically strap them on walls to keep them alive. The way the Nazis treated the prisoners is similar to how the inner party treated the inmates. Ministry of Truth is where they do all the evils and mischief. They set up the memory hole, which destroys all the documents and prevents people from keeping their own possessions. The party altered the history by altering documents and spreading the new info. Uh, Historic documents will be changed in favor of the party's agenda. When people want to prove the party lied, they either get killed or silenced. No freedom of speech. They use the thought police and newspeak to control and read the thoughts of people and cuts off the freedom of opinions. One similar thing I found is that in China, they have blocked all outside media to prevent people from knowing what happens in the outside world. And the government controls what happens on the Chinese media, which is like Baidu. And yeah, that's it. And I'm gonna blow up this place.